Hello, Nick. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Cool. I am really well, thank you. So, just before we get chatting about your experience of being a member of the Yes Mamas Village, um, just introduce yourself and your family, and maybe a little bit about your kind of like your background, just so that the people who are watching this video later on can kind of just get a sense of where you're at in life.
Okay, so my name's Nick, and I have two very energetic boys, Sully, who is 6, and Benny, who is going to be 4 next month. And when I first joined, which I think was about 2 years ago, they were both very much like terrible toddlers, and we were just getting angry at each other, and I struggled every weekend because it was me on my own with them. My husband worked, and then as time went on, me and my husband split up. And so now I'm an official single parent, even though before I felt like a single parent, now I'm actually a single parent. And they are still very boisterous and energetic, but thanks to the group, um, we're able to manage and cope with each other a lot better.
So
I
you're
can't blame them for being energetic because they get it from me.
I was going to say, because you're a single parent, but you're also running a business. I mean, you're a personal trainer, and you do extraordinary things, don't you? Like last year, you had a group of people who'd never run before, and you ran with them and trained them up to a half marathon or something. Is that right?
Close. Yes, I'm a personal trainer, and I do personal training and boot camp, and I run couch to 5K groups. So I take them from the couch to 5K, and then we've built on that. So, for example, one of my first ever couch to 5K participants in October 2015. So she did her first ever 5K in December 2015. She's doing the London Marathon in 7 weeks.
Wow.
I'm self-employed. Personal training is my main business. I also have another business as well. So as you can imagine, I don't do normal 9 to 5 hours, which in some respects it's great as a mom. For example, this week I've taken 3 days off to have time for me, it's half term, and time for the kids. The downside is most people like to be trained before breakfast or after tea. So then I can count on one hand how many times I've bathed the boys. That's just the reality of it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's really helpful, kind of like hearing that kind of background, because I think that people watching our chat, watching the video of our chat, there's going to be loads of different people watching, but some of those people may well be single parents who are running their own business, which is kind of, well, what I have been for one, and I still very much am, because although I'm remarried, my husband and I don't live together. So let's talk about the group then, because we were actually chatting about this recently, because as you just mentioned, you joined the group about 2 years ago, but then you actually left the group. And I asked you, why did you leave the group? And you were just explaining that your former husband decided that it wasn't something that was worth spending money on. But obviously you've decided to join again, and that actually is worth spending money on. So what is it about being a member of the Yes Mamas Village that is worth prioritizing that money each month?
definitely the support, and the connection, definitely, because in that time I missed it. Every time something wasn't going so well with the kids, I had nowhere to turn to, because if I turn to my mom, that's going back down the route that I'd already experienced, which knowing is not necessarily 100% healthy, or she doesn't want to advise me on parenting because she doesn't want to be judged herself. And my sister doesn't have any kids, and I don't really have any close friends who have kids. I'm kind of the outlier in my group, because we were kind of quirky at school and stuff, so they're not there yet. Or may never be there,
Yeah.
and no judgment. And the other group of people who do have kids, who I talk to on a regular basis, are clients. So I'm not going to share with a client and say, oh my God, I completely lost my mind the other day, and I lost my temper, and I did this, that, and the other. Because there's that fear that in the back of their heads they're going to be thinking, well, if she can't keep it together at home, then she's not a very good person, then she's not a very good personal trainer. So
it's kind of
all that layer.
Yeah, but it's also really interesting that you say that, because two things come to my mind. One is that people say that my vulnerability with the realness of what it's like for me to be a parent in the group really actually encourages and supports them. But also that I've heard you talk about, like, when you're in the group, it's the lack of judgment. It's the fact that you can take anything to that group and people are going to accept you and love you and support you in that place. So it's interesting that, like, I mean, I totally respect you and understand why you wouldn't want to go to your clients, but it's also interesting that what you receive from the group, you know, might actually be something your clients would love to receive too.
Possibly. I mean, I'd like to think I'm vulnerable to them in another way. Like I might put on my group, oh, I was supposed to work out today and I just couldn't get out of bed and I wanted to have a duvet day, you know. So I'm doing the vulnerableness in my specialism, and it's okay for you to be vulnerable because your specialism is parenting.
No, that's a very interesting point. No, I like that. So what would you say has surprised you, if anything, about your experience of the group?
Just how welcoming it is. I think in general, even if you talk to your friends in the playground, obviously I'm a playground mom because my kids are quite young, so I always feel like I never really share fully with them because I'm terrified they're going to judge me, and so I assume that they're probably thinking the same about me, that I'm going to judge them if they share. So for me, it's taken a good year and a half of being playground buddies with mums before I could actually tell them. But even then, I don't think I would be as honest and open as I am in the group. I think partly it helps because you're removed, so you're not face to face with them, and that helps. But it has really surprised me how women as a collective in a group can be so non-judgmental and caring, because I think sometimes the stereotype is when women get together, we're bitches and we bring each other down and it's all like a one-upmanship. That's where the playground highlights it, because often in the playground, even if it's like unintentional, but there's always that mum that's all together and organized and does all this, and you find yourself comparing yourself to them. And I found the group was able to make me more comfortable with being like, do you know what, if we're late, we're late. I don't care that I'm the mum that's in sweatpants running to the playground with my kid being the last one out. Do you know what? I don't care, because what's more important, fully seeing that I'm there. I am there. We might be 2 minutes past half past, but I'm there. Secondly, why am I running? Because I parked in the correct place rather than on the street or illegally. Thirdly, I'm coming from my own job that I built with my own 2 hands from a client that I've just changed their life. And I don't think I could ever get that closeness to any of those playground mums, even after years and years and years. That has been the most surprising thing, that just being in the group for a few short weeks, you feel like you've got an army of women who have your back no matter what. No matter what.
It's a really powerful thing, that village experience. It's amazing. What do you think are the top 3 benefits for you being a member of the group?
I feel like I understand my kids more. I don't really think I had a perspective on children at all. I was one of those women that I was like, ugh, a child, ugh, get away from me. I was never going to have kids, ever. And, you know, even though I babysat kids, I don't think I was a particularly fun babysitter. We just used to watch TV. That's it. I wasn't like a Mary Poppins type or anything like that.
So you said that, like, you know, one of the massive benefits of this group is it's not just change your perspective on children, it's like giving you a perspective on children. So what is the perspective that you have now?
I'm the one in the playground the kids come to. You know, the younger siblings, they come up to me and they're hugging me. I'm like kid celebrity. I'm like kids catnip. And
I'm like that too.
I don't get it.
It's great.
And I don't know when this happened. I don't know if it happened when I had the kids, but there was this bonfire party we went to, and Sully was watching the fireworks. There were other children there, so he wasn't so scared. We were inside, like a bungalow, but Benny was really scared. So I was just sort of entertaining him, you know. I was sitting on the floor and I was singing to him and making funny faces, just stupid stuff. And I didn't give a shit about what everyone else was doing. And there were two teenage girls there, and they were like giving me the look, you know. And I just cracked a joke and said, "Oh, you know, this is what life is like with a 2-year-old or something." And then the next day, Nathan was like, "Oh, Morgan really loves you. She can't wait for you to come back." And I was like, "What? Those two sulky teenagers? They love me?"
because you treated them like human beings.
Yeah, I didn't really care. I wasn't really trying to impress them. I wasn't trying to, you know, be smack and get down with the kids, because they hate that, don't they? You know?
Yeah. So as well as parenting, which other areas of your life does the Yes Mamas Village impact?
I think it's given me more of an insight with my own relationship with my parents. And also, I think it's given me a closer relationship to the kids, even though things have been difficult since the split, and it's still quite raw in that respect. But they do love me, and they do want to be around me, and their life would be worse if they didn't have their mummy, and that is good to build on as well. So at the moment, the group is teaching me how to take care of me, because that will take care of them.
Yeah.
It's the cup thing. That really helped. And this is something you mentioned years ago in the first time I joined. I think the first time I joined, I was very much a lurker. I just kind of looked at stuff, got angry about stuff, didn't understand stuff, and went away from it. And then when I left, I missed it, because I was like, oh, I can't ask that. So then I came back and I was really conscious of joining in a lot more. Like, I made an effort. I still do try and make the effort, but life does get in the way. And then, but you mentioned this book, Playful Parenting. So I bought the book and I got it on Audible. Mm-hmm. So I listened to it in the car, and I also gave the copy to my mum and said, not that you have to read it, but if you read bits of this is kind of along the lines of the kind of parent I want to be. Mm. And because of you talking about that book, I learned so much from that. So, for example, last week, my mother-in-law made me angry. So she depleted my cup. So what did I do? I stole from the kids' cups. Mm. I passed it down to them. And they couldn't steal off me, so they stole from each other. Mm. And nobody was happy. Mm-hmm. And it's that kind of awareness. And those analogies as well. I think if you don't have the words to describe what you're going through, or some kind of visualization, then you can't work out how to do it. So constantly in my head, I've got what you resist persists. So why are you resisting it? What are you resisting? How can we attack it so we can stop it from persisting, or just embrace it? And you can't pour from an empty cup, fill your cup first, the airplane thing. All this stuff helps. I think I must be quite visual.
Yeah, no, it's really helpful as well. You just you've obviously over time, like, just had more and more and more insights, but even just that self-awareness to be able to say, like, you know, I'm really visual. So So just that means that you know how to adapt. For example, if I share some bit of yes parenting wisdom, and I share it in a way that's not visual, it sounds to me like you have the self-awareness to almost make it into something visual for yourself. Like that's what I'm hearing
Yeah.
from you, which is
Yeah.
incredible. So just as we kind of come to the end of this chat, I'm just wondering, like, do you have one or maybe more, like really significant positive changes that have happened for you as a direct result of being a member of the Yes Mamas Village?
I suppose the biggest thing is like forgiving myself and not being so hard on myself. Because I think before, if I'd had a bad day with the kids and lost my temper, I probably would have spent the next week beating myself up and punishing myself, telling myself off for being a bad mom, and keep bringing it up. Whereas now I feel reaching that stage of saying to the kids, I'm so sorry I lost my temper. I didn't mean to. You don't deserve this. I love you. You're wonderful kids. I let my emotions get the better of me. And having Sully respond with, that's okay, mummy. Let's draw a line under it and we'll move on. That's amazing. I learn so much from them every day.
Yeah.
And it's almost nice actually to have that, you know, because they're with me 50% of the time, they're with Nathan 50% of the time. That's almost nice because I do get that perspective. So right now it's not my day with them. I can look back on Sunday, which wasn't a very good day, and go, okay, what went well? What went wrong? How can I make this Sunday better? And I've actually got the solution for that. I've got the space to think about it, and I've got the tools. We were talking about that toolbox. You provided us with this amazing toolbox. And it's like anything, isn't it? The bigger your toolbox, the more wide your ranges are. That means that when there's a crisis or something, you can go to that toolbox and you can try something. Okay, so not everybody's going to use the same tool for the same situation, but the fact that you've got a choice is way much better than the, you know, right, well, it's the naughty step for you and it's the taking the toys away. I mean, I ended up in that position on Sunday because I was so cross and I was just like, right, I'm throwing it all away. And I got a bin bag, I was putting stuff in there. Both the kids were screaming and crying. And even though I was carrying on doing it, I was thinking, this is stupid. Why are you doing this? Who's this hurting? It's hurting me, it's hurting them. And I kind of couldn't stop because I'd said I was going to do it. And it just went on. And then I was just like, this is ridiculous. Let's just stop. And then that is when Sully asked me, you know, he was like, Mummy, can I have a hug, please? And of course, the second you take them into your arms, it all melts away. And you think, there's nothing I can come back from this. I can't change that second, but I can come back from it and go, okay, you know what, Mummy's human too. I lose my temper too, just like you. And, you know, let's make it better. Let's make it right. That really helps. And I feel like I've made lifelong friends in this group as well. In only a year, that doesn't normally happen to me. There's some great people that I could turn to. I think I'd like to think that they would think the same about me as well. And it just when you, I think I missed. I noticed it more when I wasn't part of it.
That's interesting.
There was this massive thing missing. Like I felt lost again, even though I felt lost when I first joined because I was like, oh. So I'm just saying yes to everything, and it's not like that.
Yeah, no, but that's okay.
It's like you need to finish the book. I like paper things to refer to.
Yes, ma'am. I always say to people, you know, you just need to take small steps. Just take small steps. But if you're in a place of crisis and chaos, you don't want to take small steps. You just want it sorted now. And it can be really, you know, like you experience, it's so frustrating. Like, don't tell me to find a yes to myself. Tell me how to sort my kids out. And that is, you know, that is really hard. And I really want to say thank you to you for just being very real and honest and vulnerable about actually what it is like to parent two young, energetic boys when you are still on that journey of addressing the, you know, the hurts and the wounds and stuff within you that their behavior triggers, because it's not an easy journey. And, you know, I've been on that journey now for 10 years, and, you know, I still get triggered sometimes. You know, it's not very often now, but I am still triggered sometimes. And I think that it's very important to be real and honest. And I think one of the things that I've picked up listening to you today is that the group is such a safe place to be real and honest about how messy parenting can sometimes be when we choose to be intentional about it. Because, you know, of course we want, you know, we're saying I want to parent in a respectful, peaceful, compassionate way, and that's the intention. But in order to do that, we have to navigate all of the ugliness that's within us. And as that gets healed and processed and worked through, then, you know, then we are able to find more resources to be respectful and kind and compassionate. But that journey is not always an easy one. And I'm so thankful to you for being just so willing to share in a really courageous, honest way, because I'm not sure that I'm not sure that a lot of mums would do that. And I think that that is really empowering for people to know that, you know, they're not alone in, you know, having that crisis or that chaos behind doors that they're too scared to tell the mums in the playground about, or, you know, all of that kind of stuff. So thank you so much for sharing everything you shared today. And I love that you're in the group. It's so wonderful to have you as part of the village.
Oh, thank you. I love it. Great.
I will see you soon.
Okay, take care. Bye.
Bye.